Are you? Well, thank you all so much for joining. I see lots and lots of familiar faces. So you all know who I am. I'm Lauda Data Minichis, and I'm the executive director of Nurturing Minds. And I'm really excited to have everybody together here to celebrate International Women's Day, and in particular, the ripple effects of girls' education. So, as you know, International Women's Day is, of course, tomorrow. It's March 8th, and it serves as a global occasion to honor and recognize the achievements and contributions of women across the globe. And in particular, we felt like this was a good opportunity for us to also raise awareness about the ongoing need to actively work for gender equality and women's and girls' rights. And we feel that this is particularly important now in light of the halt in foreign aid, and in particular in our own loss of our recent USAID grant. So today we are celebrating the ripple effects of girls' education, which is really highlighted through the impacts and the outcomes of the girls and young women who have attended and graduated from the SEGA Girls School in Tanzania. So SEGA, as all of you know, is our partner, Secondary Education for Girls Advancement in Tanzania. And currently, the SEGA Girls School has 260 girls at their boarding school campus in Morogoro. But SEGA serves 2,500 girls and young women across several regions of the country, doing community outreach work through business development skills and microloans, and also through continuing education scholarships all the way through university. I'm really pleased today that we have a panel of graduates from SEGA. Two of them who just arrived yesterday, Uweza and Magreth. They just arrived from Tanzania. They might be a little jet lagged, but they look pretty awake right now to join us. And they, well, I said they just graduated, but they have big dreams of becoming an engineer and becoming a doctor. And we know that, with their determination and hard work, that they will reach those dreams. And we also have with you, many of you know, our Nusura Myonga, who graduated SEGA in 2015. And Nusura went on after the SEGA Girls School to study in South Africa at African Leadership Academy, and then on to African Leadership University in Rwanda. And she is now back in Tanzania, and she is the program lead for Her Initiative, which is an organization dedicated to empowering young women through financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and skills development. So there's a big ripple effect right there through one of our graduates. And in 2025, it's one of our goals to have you all hear girls' voices directly. So that's another reason why we're really excited to have these girls on the panel themselves. And I'm also very honored to introduce to you Juma-Nyamunga, who is the vice chair of the board of Nurturing Minds. She is herself from Tanzania. She has built a distinguished career in technology and leadership, and is a senior information technology manager at Vanguard, celebrating, it's hard to believe, her 25th anniversary there. And I think I forgot to do my housekeeping stuff, but this is recorded. Please do keep yourselves muted. At the end of the panel discussion, there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions. You can either type it into the chat or raise your hand. And so I'm really excited to have you all here today. And with that, I will pass things over to Jane. And girls, you can come over here and sit here.
Laura, thank you so much for that introduction. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you who have made time to attend this meeting. For those on the East Coast, this could be your lunch hour. Some of you are working, and I do really appreciate you taking the time to join us for this panel discussion. I know some of you, I reached out to you directly yesterday, this morning, and I see you here. And it really warms my heart that you've made the time to come in and listen to our conversation today. So maybe before I begin, I want to share with you why this topic of the ripple effect of girls' education is so important to me. Coming from a country like Tanzania and knowing what the possibilities are for young women and women in general, without education, the future is really not that bright. So I do know through first-hand account and also testimonials as to how education can really change not just one generation's life, but really change generations of families and move them out of poverty into a life of comfort and prosperity. So the girls you see here today, as Lauda mentioned, they have all graduated from Tanzania, from a SEGA school based in Tanzania. We know that based on the education we provided for them at that school and the foundation they've received, they're going to do great things, not just for Tanzania, but really worldwide. So I'm glad that you get to hear from them and hear first account as to what the education they've received means to them and what they plan to do in the future. So the first question I'm going to ask, I will start first with the recent graduates who Uweza and Magreth. And when you start answering your question, can you introduce yourself and tell us what your name is? Because I don't think your audience knows who is who. So the first question I'll ask you is, when you went to SEGA, you graduated from there. Can you share with us what opportunities and challenges maybe you experienced when you were in SEGA? And beyond that, can you share with us what are the defining moments that you experienced while you're at SEGA?
Who wants to go first?
Okay. My name is Magreth, and I'm a SEGA graduate of 2024. So I am here to talk about the defining moments that I passed through when I was at school. So my education at SEGA first was very nice. There are many opportunities there at SEGA which make Tanzanian girls get a better education. So while I was at SEGA, there are many opportunities like we have the normal sessions in class, but also we have the entrepreneurship skills, which is provided there to make girls, when they finish education, to employ themselves and do other things rather than just staying at home. So for instance, we have the pottery group, we have the sewing group and shop. So in sewing, we learn how to make different materials that help us to get skills and sell. Then we put in the saving accounts when we're in Form 3. And thereafter, we have the poetry group. In the poetry group, we learn how to save the checks and all that. Also, we have shop, how to manage to sell things and make a balance sheet which shows which things comes in and which things goes out, what we buy and what we sell, the profit we get and all that. So being at SEGA, it has been a golden chance for me. So I'm happy for that.
Thank you, Magreth.
Okay, well, my name is Uweza Richard, and I've just graduated last year at SEGA Secondary School. The opportunities which I got from SEGA is the entrepreneurship skills and life skills. I learned on how to communicate with people, and I learned on how to collaborate well with different people according to their personality. Well, the challenges that I was getting is when you don't fulfill what you planned. For example, maybe in studies, you planned to get A in this subject, then it goes different. So those are challenges. Then as long as I got the life skill from SEGA and I knew my personality, so I used to solve my problems.
Thank you so much, Uweza and Magreth. Nusura, I know you're not such a recent graduate from SEGA, but I know you've also experienced many advantages of attending at SEGA. So could you share with our audience a little bit about your experience at SEGA and what doors that experience had opened for you?
Thank you so much, Madam Jane and Uweza and Magreth. That was really good. So thank you for sharing your experiences. I think as for me, there were so many, it has been 10 years already. So, but I still remember them. I think the very first one was when I got to SEGA, the first thing that I noticed was this is home. Like everybody is a family. Everybody is a sister. Everybody is a big sister. And to me, that wasn't something that I was used to. So I felt at home. I felt loved. I felt respected. I felt valued. And that's when I was like, oh, I do matter. I kind of felt like I mattered, but then when I got to SEGA, I was like, okay, now I know for sure I matter. So the first experience was I'm home, I'm with family, and everybody here, is here for the same goal. And the second one was, so while I was in school, while I was in SEGA, I got like a lot of different opportunities. The very, very first one I remember was me attending French Central School in Philadelphia. That was my very first ever flight, like the very first ever time to like get on a flight. And it was a flight from Tanzania to, was it Amsterdam and then New York? It was such a shock. But at the same time, I realized that things are actually possible. These were things I used to see in movies, things that we read about in the library, but now experiencing them was such a great opportunities. And now coming to immerse myself in a new culture, a new environment, learning how things are done in a very different continent. It was such an eye-opening for me. And I think that experience opened so many doors for me. I saw like there's so many things I can achieve. There's so much I needed to do. And yeah, it just opened, it told me that there's more for you to do and you can actually do them and achieve them. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, all three of you, for sharing. So I, like I say to everyone in the audience today, you can see what an education can do to change somebody's perspective and to really widen their horizons and really see what the possibilities are. So the next questions will be to our recent graduates, Uweza and Magreth. So as we all know, in Tanzania and other places around the world, there's so many pressures that are in society that would make girls feel like they need to drop out of school, maybe get married early, and many other things that do not really accommodate girls to pursue education. So can you share with us what you think the misconception is in terms of maybe for parents, especially male parents, to emphasize on educating girls? Because for the most part in Tanzanian culture, and maybe in rural areas where there's not opportunities for advanced education, you'll find girls getting married very early, and nobody's really encouraging them to pursue education, to further studies, to go to university or things of that nature. So we all know where that's coming from. So can you, both of you, share with us why do you think that misconception exists?
Well,
and how can we shift the narratives? How can we change that? Because we know educating girls is important.
okay. Well, my best experience in Africa or Tanzania, most of our parents have perception that when you educate a girl, you just lose your money, because a girl might face some challenges like getting early pregnancy, according to the maybe long distance walking, going to school, or some temptation on the way. So that is one among the misconceptions that our parents have in educating girls in Tanzania. Another misconception, it might be because they think a girl is going to get to be male, so they just say like, when you educate a girl, then it's going to another man. So they say like they just lose their worth because it's not going to help the family. Also, on what I can say, the solution to that is we can just have community talking or community discussion, whereby we can educate the parents on the importance of educating a girl and the future. Also, we can use a model program like collecting girls all over the world in one place and invite different women who have done a meaningful in the world, who have made a history, so that we can give them a heart of or encouraging them on working hard. Also, we can involve scholarship program whereby we can help the girls who are coming from disadvantaged background and helping them to achieve their dreams, so that we can encourage those who have give up in studying.
Wonderful. Thank you, Uweza. Magreth, can you share with us some misconceptions that you can think of?
Okay, thank you, Madam Jane. So to my side, first, I think that one of the misconception is that when parents, they think about girls that if we just educate girls, they waste our money. So I can talk maybe about the families which are poor. When we talk about the poor families, which there are some girls which are vulnerable and they need help to get education. So talking about those families, especially in Tanzania, there are many families which the parents are poor. They are not able to even give the exercise books and all the needs of school to the students so that she can get education. So to my side, I can see that the scholarship is very important for the girls to be supported to get education, that they can live well or they can have a bright future, because due to those families, many students feel, especially girls, they fail to go to school, that my mother or my father doesn't have money to send me to school, so I just remained at home doing some works, and at last they get a marriage, a pregnancy, and they remain poor as just their families, and their life continues like that, being poor. So to my side, I can see that supporting girls' education is very, very important. So by supporting them, they'll have education, better education, and even a bright future to the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magreth, for elaborating on your experiences and sharing with us examples, real life examples of what happens when maybe parents don't value educating a girl in fear of the losing money or maybe losing their investment, because eventually that girl will be married into another family, and therefore maybe there isn't a reason to do that. And also, I think, Uweza, you shared that it's important for young girls like yourselves to see examples of successful women who have done different things, who have gone to higher education levels and accomplished different things. So, so I think it's our job, some of us who have been able to successfully complete our education and been able to succeed in different careers, to really set that example for you, the future generation, so that you can really know that what possibilities are out there. So my next question will be for Nusura. So Nusura, your work focuses on women's economic empowerment. So from what you know and what you have experienced so far, can you share with us how you think the educating women, what's the impact educating women will have in economic empowerment worldwide, not just in Tanzania? So since you're in that field, maybe you can share with us real examples and what you've seen in your experience.
Thank you so much for the question. So yes, we work with young girls and young women. We have different programs, but the biggest goal is to end the cycle of poverty by using, economic empowerment and integrating digital digital tools to make sure that happens. And in all that we do, in all the programs that we do, we start with awareness, like raising awareness. There's different challenges, there's different problems that we're trying to solve, but we could see it as a problem, but then the person you're trying to help or trying to bring the solution for doesn't see it as a problem. So what we focus is, first get to know the people, that the girls that we work with, and then go into the community, then understand what they feel, because we can see it from this side as a challenge, but then we want to go to the communities and see how do you feel about this? Do you think it's a problem? And then understand that. After understanding them, we then now come up with a either be depending on the environment. I'll give a good example with my particular project. So I'm leading a project called Going Beyond Project, and we work with entrepreneurs, young women entrepreneurs, 70% young women and 30% men. So one of the challenges that the young entrepreneurs were facing is the customers are there, but they're a little bit far from where they are. So we wanted them to use social media platforms to reach more customers. Now, many of them, especially young ladies, were scared to use social media because of either their partners saying you can't use social media because you're going to get other partners and things like that. So we realized that there's an importance for us, like as we're going with programs, to involve people like the community members, the partners, the government, the local government, to provide the education that listen, we are coming here with this type of programs and education providing for the young women in the community. It is important because the general understanding of the community. So first of all, the community has to understand it. And then when they understand, it comes to when a girl is without education, you can't really know how to move, like how to even empower yourself with the money that you have maybe gotten from selling your snacks or your rice in the street. So first thing to do is educating first the girls and the women we work with, and then the community that they are in, and now bringing in the programs. Now, if it's the Going Beyond program or the Plan B program, that's after we've provided education for them. And it's important because we find that at first we were just, I have a program, I'll come in. We have digital tools, we go and bring them there, but then they do not know how to navigate through the digital tools. There's all these maybe financial records where they can keep their records. If you do not know how to maybe read or write, you can't really know how to use them. So it's really important. So educating them on these things helps us to even reach the very many girls, but also achieve the goals and objectives we have. So first education, and then we come in with the economic empowerment and digital empowerment.
Well, thank you so much, Nusura, for sharing your amazing work that you're doing to empower young entrepreneurs. And I'm sure what you brought to the table was what you learned at SEGA and also through your other academic endeavors. So I say this to let everyone know on the call, especially all our supporters who have been with us for a very long time, that your donation, your contributions really matter. As you can see, Nusura was a graduate of SEGA. She got a lot of educational training in different areas as well as entrepreneurship, and it has taken her to a career that she has today. And as you can also tell, she is passionate about it, and she knows that she's making a difference in a lot of young entrepreneurs in Tanzania. So thank you for sharing that, Nusura. So my next question is for our recent graduates. So as you all know, at SEGA, you get a lot of opportunities to learn different things, but there's also the entrepreneurship program that you talked about in your introductions. But what I'm trying to get from you, can you share with us, out of all the different programs that you have experienced at SEGA, which ones do you have were you more passionate about, and maybe how have they impacted your life up to this point, and maybe what you plan to do in the future? Like you mentioned, there was entrepreneurship training that covered different things in terms of learning how to maybe run a business, do some bookkeeping, sewing, different things. So I just want to know first from Magreth and then Uweza, as far as what the impact has been on what you learned from SEGA, different programs.
So to my side, the entrepreneurship skills which it has impacted me, it's the sewing club. In the sewing club, we learn how to make different clothes, we learn how to do the hand-working things like the handbags and all that. So to my side, as in Tanzania, many people do wear the clothes we call vitenge. So it's easy for me to get a job and just employ myself while waiting for the future studies. So, and while I was at home, I just tried some, although I don't have mine to make, but I just tried to make, and I can see that I am able to do. So even in the future, after finishing even the university, waiting to be employed, I can even employ myself and do the work.
Wonderful. And how about you, Uweza?
Well, for me, I just enjoyed selling a shop where in shop we do communicate with different customers, and it's where you can get interacted with different people because you'll have to serve them what they want. So like I use the skills at home after I just graduated from SEGA. I involved myself in selling buns, fresh milk, some kind of donuts. So I had different customers from different places, and I used the knowledge which I got from SEGA in providing the services to them. Also, the money which I got from that business, I saved it because while waiting to go in advance, you have to get some tuition. So the money which I got, I used it in studying tuition. Also, I saved some like helping my parents home, like buying home things, so maybe you can say tomatoes, flour. So I enjoyed the moment.
So thank you so much for sharing, Magreth and Uweza. It's very enlightening to know that the education that you received at SEGA, you are really using it right now in your daily lives as you are way to go to university. As Magreth mentioned, she's able to sew, and she has confidence that at some point she might be able to use sewing as a business and be able to design clothes for others and make a living in addition to whatever education endeavors that she's pursuing. And for Uweza, you've also talked about how you enjoy to interact with customers and how you improve your communication skills to really understand what the customer needs. And also you're able to have that skill to understand what savings can mean for you and your family. So that's all to, I guess, I would like to acknowledge SEGA's efforts there in educating you and really showing you how you can apply the lessons you've had in real life. And I see that is really empowering to you, and it's quite enlightening, and I'm glad that you're doing that. You're using your education in real life, and also have plans to continue using it in the future. So my next question will be to Nusura. So Nusura, you are hoping to join the UN Commission for the Status of Women, and I know you'll be in the States in a couple of weeks or so. And for those who don't know, the UN Commission on the Status for Women, it's a global platform dedicated to advancing gender equality. So how do you see your work in women's economic empowerment and education aligning with the conversation that will be happening with the UN Commission on the Status for Women? And what key issues do you think you're going to bring to the global stage?
Thank you so much for the question. Yes, hopefully waiting to get my visa approved, but yeah, soon I'll be joining the conversations in New York. But yeah, so there's a lot of intersectionalities between what the conversations are about and what we do in our organization, especially in the areas of economic empowerment, education, and digital, using technology as a digital tool for young women to advance in their like in life in general. So I believe my insights, I'll put a lot of like my contribution would be more into that because I have like hands-on experience with the young women here in Tanzania. I also I would love to, have an opportunity to talk about how like the importance of not just providing education to young women, but quality education, because sometimes you will get an education, but not the quality that is needed, especially for the workforce or for maybe your business that you're trying to grow and other things like that. But I also would love to talk on the economic barriers that young men face, whether be a student or a mother back in their house, or whether be somebody who works just like me or other young girls and young women, especially in Tanzania. There's still economic work gap where you still find that you're doing the same job as some other person, as let's say a man in a certain organization, but you're not getting paid the same. So these are still the challenges that we're still facing. So I think it's really important to talk about them, and as a group discuss on way forward, because they are not over, they're still there. Additionally, I also want to talk about the importance of stronger partnerships between the government and the private sector, because but there's still like a big gap. As we go into the communities, you see that NGOs are working on their own, trying to fight all of these challenges that young women are facing, and then the government is on its own. Of course, there's some, collaborations here and there, but there's like a need for all of us to come together and work together. So, yeah, especially when, in countries like Tanzania, these communities that we serve are there's like local government authorities. So when you go to the communities, you need to integrate with these with the LGAs, the local government authorities. So if there's no stronger partnership between all of us together, that's a challenge and that's a problem. So discussing on things like that, it's because I am from this other side, from the continent. I've experienced this, maybe sharing the experience and then hearing from other people who are not in my shoe and are seeing this from afar. We could gain maybe new insights and see how we could further, strengthen these partnerships. So yeah, talk about the quality education, not just education, but also the economic barriers that young women are facing, and then the stronger partnership between private and government sector.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nusura, for sharing with us what you plan to really represent from your life experiences, from what you do at your work, and to also maybe communicate with others who might not have lived your experience, and maybe they might be able to be in a position to help you continue to make a difference in your community. So Nusura, I have a follow-up question for you, based on what you've explained and what you plan to deliver maybe at the UN as you work in different groups. So if you had a message to policymakers, funders, and decision makers on the importance of investing in girls, what would that message be?
Could you please say that again?
If you had a message to policymakers, funders, people who help Nurturing Minds and SEGA, people who are decision makers in different areas, if you had an opportunity to share with them the importance of educating girls, what would that message be?
I think one would be there's a lot of people who lack education, and let's do more research and find like the needs of those societies. So for example, a person from Morogoro in Tanzania would have a problem, but the way you would go about solving it, or the way you would bring in, let's say, educational tools, is different from how you bring it to, let's say, Cote d'Ivoire, where people speak French. So look at the communities that you're trying to come in and like maybe provide assistance or fund a certain project, and then maybe learn how they do things there. And then from there, you can of course bring in new ways of doing things, but first learn how things are done there and then move from there. The second one is put, I think in a very nice way, because I've not gotten the opportunity to think about this, put your money where your words are, because sometimes a lot of people will talk about things but not really invest on those things. I think I heard one time we were discussing with our executive director here. She's of course a young woman leading us. She shared that many funders like the idea of women-led and organizations like that, but then they are scared because it's risky to invest in girls' organizations. So finding a way to communicate that those that you consider risky investment might be the investment you want to make to get the impact that you want.
Oh, Thank you so much, Nusura. Thank you for sharing your passion, and I can see that you're really invested in making sure that the lives of many women, not just in the continent in Africa, but elsewhere, are improved. And we want to make sure that education is really part of that equation. So the next question that I have is for the recent graduates. And maybe before I ask that question, I will share a little bit about what my passion is in terms of the future of girls' education in Tanzania and everywhere else. I think we all know that women hold a lot of responsibilities in households and also in corporate and other places in terms of making decisions for their families, making decisions for how to run corporations, making decisions how to budget. So we know for sure that empowering women in different areas has a big impact in life in general. Here in America, I work in an investment company, and we make an effort to make sure that we reach women because we know they are the decision makers. They're the ones who decide what money goes where, how do we want to invest for our children's education, how do we want to invest for our future. So in general, educating a girl anywhere in the world is really a good thing. And it's a good thing not just for that family, but it's a good thing for the whole society. So for me, my passion comes from being a woman and being around other women who have similar passions like myself. We are all driven to make sure that we are making a lasting impact in girls using education, using our skills, using our networks, and that is something that is a purpose for me, and I truly believe it's something that drives me to continue doing what I do. And like I said, there are a lot of people online today who are very passionate about girls' education and passionate about really seeing the world change because we have changed the lives of women. So the question, and also in addition to that, the idea of giving back is something that is very important to me because I strongly believe to whom much is given, much is expected. And when I say much, I don't mean money. It could be your talent, it could be your skill, it could be a connection. Whatever you have, you can really use that to make a difference and make an impact, a lasting impact in somebody's life. You might not know it today, but you never know. So I wanted to ask the graduates here, what are your dreams based on what you've explained to us, your goals in life? What are your dreams? And beyond that, what are your plans in terms of giving back? I will start with Uweza, and then we'll go to Magreth.
Well, thanks. The biggest dream that I have is to reach and help many girls that are from vulnerable families that who did not get a chance to be educated, so that I can train them and give them courage on how they can achieve their dreams. Also, the other dream which I have is to achieve further and further, so that I can be a role model to other youngest generation who still have their dreams in future. Also, the impact that I can make in the world or in Tanzania is to work as a volunteer, whereby I can use my education and knowledge that I got from SEGA and other academic programs to volunteer on educating different girls, like in villages and different places who still facing challenges like abuse, humiliation, who still taken as disadvantaged group, so that they can have another courage in continuing and achieving their goals. Also, I can tell them and inspire them that they can achieve what they want. What is seen impossible to girls, it can be possible. I can use different kind of role models who have made a history, who made different things that was seen impossible in the world and in Tanzania, and they have made it. So that is my biggest wish, and I hope it will be true.
Wow, that is amazing, Uweza. I can tell that you have really thought through and you have really assessed what your impact can be. Like I mentioned, every little bit helps, and I really know you will make an impact, and I have no doubt that you will be successful. And I'm glad that you are thinking through it at a young age and what you plan to do in the future. So next, Uweza, can you share with us a little bit about what you plan in terms of your future dreams, and also how we would like to give back?
Okay, thank you. To my side, first of all, my biggest dream was first of all, I had two dreams. When just starting school, thinking about what I want to be in the future. So I had two dreams. I wanted to be a doctor, and then I wanted to be a soldier. So I had two things just playing in my mind. What should I choose? And all the two things, I like them. I like to be a doctor. I like being a soldier. So I like the two things. But through the education for life that we get to our school, getting life skills, it helped me to think that I can just be a military doctor. That until now I have a dream of being a military doctor where I'll be saving people in the military. But with the exception of that, I'm also thinking that after finishing Form 4 at SEGA, when I went at home, so there are some things I learned during the journey or after graduating. I learned that there are some of the girls which are in our community who have no education. They are not respected. They are seen like people of no worth. So to my side, I talked to some girls who are studying, they are going to a longer distance, studying, finding education. I just talked to some of my friends because to our school as I got the chance, but there are some people who are still studying over there. So I was getting sometimes to talk to them, sharing some stories. For sure, they're passing hard time, but with the exception of that, I just talked to them that they should not give up, because what I believe that if we work hard, nothing is impossible. So I talked to them and everything is going okay. So that is my biggest wish, and I'll be talking to more girls, getting experience of what they are passing through, and by getting the chance of talking to my friends when I went back to school during my studies, because I was talking to them throughout the 4 years. So I was just keeping working hard, believing that someday, sometimes I'll achieve what I want to achieve, because I can see there are some people passing through different hardships in education, but to me, I get everything at SEGA. So it was my chance when remembering that at SEGA, I get everything. So I work hard in everything, participating in each and everything. I just use my energy. I work hard, believing that nothing is impossible. Thank you.
Absolutely. Nothing is impossible. And with that kind of drive and that kind of passion, I'm pretty sure you will be accomplishing all the dreams you've set out to accomplish. And I know all the girls that you've been mentoring and trying to encourage them will thank you for that. And hopefully the trickle effect will continue to grow, because whoever you're mentoring, they will also be a good source of information for somebody else. So thank you, Uweza and Magreth. And maybe I'll ask Nusura just briefly the same question. What are your future dreams? I know you're quite an accomplished young lady and you have a lot more to accomplish. And also maybe what do you foresee yourself doing as giving back? So that will be the last question for you, Nusura, and then we'll go back to Laura so we can moderate some questions from the audience.
Thank you so much for that amazing question. I think to me, the biggest goal or dream I have is to see young girls and women thrive. Because in an environment where women are mistreated, there's so much that is happening in the community. I want to see women stand up for themselves. I want to see women thrive. I want to see women take initiatives. I want to see women lead and take over. I'm not saying what I'm trying to communicate is we're already doing that. I currently work with a organization. We have a number of projects where we are trying to raise awareness at the same time. When we go to the communities that we serve, we raise awareness to the communities, right? but I still think there's so much more I can do. When I get some free time, I work with other organizations that work with young women, not work, volunteer with them, see if I could bring in some of my expertise and share my experiences, but also go to the community, because I enjoy going to the communities and meet with the young girls, whether it be going there and train them on sexual and reproductive health, or train them on how to digitalize their businesses. So those are my interests. But I also am thinking on now, with the experience I have working with all the nonprofit organizations, I'm thinking now to start maybe working with funders and help them find the right people to invest or to fund. So yeah, that's what I'm currently thinking about. Maybe looking for some master's programs that will assist me on that. So yeah, just making sure we, for the funders and the investors, they are investing in the right organizations that especially in the African continent. So that's the biggest goal. All of this is to see young women thrive and yeah, take care of themselves, feel confident, and yeah, thank you.
Oh, so thank you so much, Magreth, Uweza, and Nusura. And for all of you who are in the audience today, I think you can all see why the trickle effect of education means so much in so many communities. As you can see, these young women went to SEGA school. They got an education there. They're still pursuing their dreams through education and other means. And as we can all tell, they have a bright future ahead. And we can see that through that SEGA education, we could absolutely change the world. So I thank you all, Magreth, Uweza, and Nusura, for your thoughtful answers and for really enlightening us and showing us the power of such a school as SEGA can do to make a difference in this world. So we'll move on to questions from the audience, and Lauda will be able to moderate and help us address whoever is next. I'm not sure if it's you, Lauda, or Matt, who's taking questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me see. Matt, do we have anything in the chat? Any questions? We have a congratulatory note from Pam. And I think there is a question here. Looking back over 4 years, what would be your advice to the girls now at SEGA on coping with stress, difficult studies, homesickness? What kept you believing in yourselves to carry on? And then there's a question, and then Nusura, any thoughts from you? Thank you, Pam. So, girls. Oh, very good. She knows that was a question for you. I know. Sorry, did you understand that question? So they want you to, she wants to know how you coped with stress. What do you have as advice to your SEGA sisters who are students there now? Are there ways that you coped with homesickness and stress? How can you share that? Any tips for your younger SEGA sisters? We'll start with you, and then we'll ask Nusura the same thing. Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead, Uweza.
what I can just advise my young sisters who still pursuing their dreams in SEGA Secondary School is just to continue carrying on their long-term goals and just use their problems and the challenges which they are facing as the opportunities so that they can learn and grow. Also, they should get a different exposure. As SEGA, we have a program which is called the Career Path, and that programs we do invite different kind of women in the world who have made a history, and they do come to our school and give us some inspirations words. They just give us advice like we can do and achieve whatever we want. So I can just advise my young sisters to listen to them and make sure that they achieve their long-term goals, and they have to use their problems as an opportunity to learn and grow. They should refine their strengths to achieve their goals.
Magreth, do you want to add?
side, I can say that first of all, what I believe is golden chance never come twice. So by believing so, there are many girls there, they didn't get a chance. So what I can advise my young sisters who are still pursuing at SEGA is that they should work hard and study hard, that everything is possible. And they should also remember that not all the people got the chance, but they are chosen. So it means if they are chosen, God chose them, and they should use the chance that they have got to do well.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Nusura, do you have anything to add?
Definitely. Thank you, Magreth and Uweza. In addition to all that they've said, I think with coping with stress, I've of course been going back to SEGA here and there because SEGA is always home. And what I usually say is using each other as a support system. So there's like so many support systems in the community at SEGA. So you have your sisters in the class. So the form ones, form two, the people you go to class with, those are your support system. And then you have your class teacher. That person is your support system. And then you have the matron in the dormitories or the halls where we sleep. That's your support system. And then you come back and have other teachers, and then there's a counselor. So using the people that you have in the community, if you can speak to Magreth, who's your classmate, you can go to your class teacher. If you don't feel comfortable sharing what you're facing with a class teacher, there's a counselor, there's a matron. So there is that safe space for everybody to share. So encouraging them to speak up, to go to these people, talk to them, because I believe in sharing. And then sometimes when you're stressed, you talk to somebody and then they don't even help. You just feel a little bit like something has been, like some load has been taken out. So sharing what you're facing, when you feel comfortable with, there's already a lot of support system in the community. Difficult studies. So we have like this, they have at SEGA, there's like academic prefects. So these people are there to assist you perform well, but you also have academic teacher, academic master, who is there also to assist the students with their studies, those who are facing difficulties. The class teachers also do the same. So you already have this support system. So I would advise when facing challenges, especially with studies, some classes you don't understand some topics, use again the people that are around you. And then if it still doesn't work, there's a library this day with full on laptops and computers and access to Wi-Fi. We've been taught how to, use Chromes and Google and all these things to help ourselves learn and use them as a tool for us to understand more from what we've learned in the class, and we want to get more knowledge. Use those computers. They're there for you. They're there for you to learn and understand. With homesickness, it can happen where sometimes you just want to be with grandma, for somebody like me who was raised by a grandma. But our matron especially is almost like your mom, not your mom, because sometimes you need to, make sure you do what you're supposed to do, but they're there to listen. So you go talk to them, your friends, your classmates are your people. You sleep with them, you go to class with them. These are your people. Talk to them. Ask for sometimes to sleep a bit, go and rest and then come back. That sometimes helps. So I think, yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nusura. Those are all really, really great tools and resources to highlight. I really appreciate all of that. So we have a couple more questions. We have one from Tracy asking Magreth to tell us a bit more about females entering the military. Is it difficult to be accepted? Are there many opportunities for women? And can they select the training that they wish to pursue? So could a woman choose to become a military doctor? How do you know much about entering the military for women?
Okay, thank you. So to my side, although I don't know much about military, but according to how I know and my understanding until now, first of all, it is possible to become a military, to be in the military as women. It is very, very possible, especially in Tanzania. But to my side, what I can say that many women in Tanzania are afraid of joining the military because they say that like there are many exercises, there is hardship life when you go to the military. So like that, they just deny themselves not going for the military. But if just you are strong enough, you can do it and you can be chosen. And it is not that difficult that you cannot be accepted. You can be accepted, but only if you wish.
And Magreth, you shared with me that there's a military base close to where you grew up.
Yes.
And so you have seen many women in the military. That's what inspired you. Yeah. And in fact, about a year and a half ago, when I was at SEGA for one of their career days, they had 3 women who were, one was the fighter pilot and 2 helicopter pilots working essentially with the government and the military that were women. So that was also very cool. Okay, so Susan Hannah, if you were to change or add to SEGA's programs, what would you suggest? Do any of you have any thoughts about that? I think you don't, we're running short on time, so maybe one of you could take that. Does anybody have any suggestions on anything you'd want to change about SEGA? Don't be shy. We like to hear feedback and input.
I think no.
I think
Okay.
I'll speak, maybe I'll speak a little bit because we don't have time. I think for me, I would maybe love for, we already have like community outreach programs, like for the students to go to the community and serve the community, maybe go help in an orphanage center or something like that. But maybe more on, I don't know how this is gonna be possible, like more on like students now going to, let's say you want to be a doctor, get an opportunity to, like when you're in Form 1, go to a hospital, maybe on a weekend, programs like those. Maybe on a weekend, doctors would go to a hospital and maybe learn a few things. And then maybe next month, I don't know, you take engineers, where it's possible, of course, they go meet with engineers on this one weekend and learn more. Before you even get to Form 3, where you get to choose if you want to do science or if you want to do arts, so that you have an idea of how this looks like. Because of the nature of the students that are at SEGA, you want to be this somebody, but you're not very sure how that looks like. So having them experience this at a very young age kind of prepares them for what is to come. And yeah, so maybe that I don't know how we would call it. We could, if
say more career exposure at younger ages. And I actually think SEGA has started to do that in the past few years. Really, as I mentioned when I was there, they had these pilots come in, but they also had businesswomen from DAR in different fields. And I think they do go out, but I love that idea of not only having people come in, but going in and maybe even shadowing, but getting some real world exposure to different fields in person. That is that's a great idea to do even more of that. Okay. So did I get everybody's? Susan, did you have another question? Let's see. Love the idea of shadowing. Thank you, Margaret, Uweza, and Nusura, for your thoughtful comments, and best wishes to you in achieving your dreams and inspiring other girls. And you're going to be with Susan in just a few days. I think we have just about a minute left. I don't know if anybody else has any last minute things. Please feel free to unmute yourselves.
I wanted to just thank everyone who made the time to attend today's session. It was really enlightening for me. Of course, everybody who knows me, they know what I have such a passion for SEGA girls, and because I've seen what that education can do. For me personally, because I'm Tanzanian, I know these are future leaders of that nation, and we need them, and we need more of them. So for all of our supporters who are here, especially the ones who have been with us for a long time and the new ones, I continue to encourage you to continue to support us. As you can tell, this is our future. You're looking at it right in front of you. You heard about the aspirations, and I know together we can continue making even a bigger difference in the world of Tanzanian women and other places. So thank you so much, and I hope I'll see you again in another one of these and other events that we host.
Thank you, girls. Thank you, Nusura. And thank you, Jane, for being with us today and leading us through the discussion. And happy International Women's Day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.